Hey there, and welcome to another deep dive today. If you caught the title, it's probably why you're here. We're talking about an old love of mine, Twitch. Now, Twitch is, if you're not familiar, the largest streaming platform. It's even further on than YouTube Live. There's also Facebook Gaming. There was, Mixer, rest in peace. And there's even other services that are trying to gain foot share in the live streaming realm. But Twitch still reigns supreme and is sort of the big dog when it comes to live streaming. Now, the question of, is it right for your business is a hard one to answer, because Twitch can not only be the business in and of itself, but it can also help with creating a portfolio, if you will. There's a lot of YouTubers that also have Twitch platforms, or business owners that are building Twitch platforms out there. And Twitch can be used for a lot of different things, not only as the revenue or the business stream itself. So what we're going to do today, per all of my other deep dive videos, is we're going to look at the demographics information around Twitch so that you can better make a decision if the platform is going to be good for your business and the audience you're targeting, because you've probably seen a bunch of different personalities and business types starting to build a presence. We got music, we got politicians, we've got games that you wouldn't traditionally think would be on a gaming platform like this, like football and chess, are all growing. There's even a stock market channel now for those interested in learning how to day trade. They can watch some of their favorite day traders, right? So it's all a very interesting live streaming platform and how you might use it. So let's dive into the analytics and start taking a look on this. The big question we're going to try to answer when we move through this is, does it have a place in your business? So we're going to cover some traditional things. If you've caught some of my other deep dive videos, we're going to cover users, age, gender, geography. We'll talk about the media type, even though it's all about live streaming. We'll still chat a little bit about it. And we'll talk about engagement by the numbers, as well as leave you with some of my opinions about the Twitch platform at the end here. There are over 140 million monthly active users on the platform, 17.5 million on any given day. So is it as big as like a YouTube as far as number of monthly active users, or a Facebook, or an Instagram, or even LinkedIn or Twitter? No, it's not. But very niche. People that come to this platform come to it for one reason, and that's for live streams. And because of that, there's actually a barrier of entry, if you will. There's like a cultural barrier. Any non-streaming person trying to jump into the platform is going to struggle a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But knowing that it's a dedicated platform to streaming and it is reaching this number of individuals, you can really start to see why there's interest with, traditionally non-gaming industries creating a Twitch presence. You break that out, you're probably going to get the younger age demographic that you thought you might. So you're going to see here 41% of the platform is 16 to 24, 32% is 25 to 34. We all know that the average gamer is moving up in age. So capturing that 16 to 35, that's what, 73% of the platform right there. So that's not only the younger generation, but the traditional gamer age range. I always forget the exact number, but it's in the mid 30s is the average age of a gamer nowadays. So they're coming out there and they're seeing streams. And that is also an important thing to keep in mind as far as, disposable income. Those individuals in their late 20s, early or in 30s, really, the whole gamut of 30s, are going to have more disposable income to be able to subscribe to streamers and, tip with either cash or bits. There's all of this lingo, if you're not familiar with the platform, that is new to it. And then you'll see as the ages increase, there is a fall off in participants, 35 to 44, still a decent chunk at 17%. And then 45 to 54.7%, and then the remaining 3% of individuals are 55 to 64 years of age. Here's another way to look at the age groups. I thought this might pan it a little bit better, which is sort of interesting because the TOS says you have to be at least 13. So for this to start at 10, let's assume people are following the rules here. So it's really more like 13 to 19, but it's worth noting 10 to 19, 37.8%, 20 to 29, 40.6, 30 to 39, 13.2, so on and so forth. And it just kind of goes down from there. But it is good to understand, what age range are you looking at? I like this one because it was in groups of 10, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39. So if you're targeting a sort of generation, if you will, this might help you better understand a specific generation and do they live on that platform. This is something else to keep in mind too about the Twitch platform is it is an advertising powerhouse as well. So if you don't know, Twitch is actually backed by Amazon, purchased by Amazon a couple years ago. So they're leveraging their own advertisement platform. So maybe it might not be the best platform for you to live on and do your live streams, but it might be a great platform for advertising your business and getting it out to these age demographics. And then you'll see male to female, we have 65% male and 35% female. This is actually a really interesting number because even just a few years ago, it was much more skewed to male than female. You're actually seeing a surge in female population on the platform, not only from a streamer perspective, but as a viewer perspective. And I think this is a really interesting thing that I'm super stoked about seeing is more women getting into technology and video games and stereotypes sort of being broken in and around like, hey, video games and technology is only for men. And you not only see this in sort of the gaming industry, it's still a struggle. Don't get me wrong. It has a ton of work to do, but I do like seeing the numbers going up and to the right. That is what I'm excited about. Numbers are going up and to the right. And this expands too, because I know for me, my first love in technology was video games. And that's what actually got me into engineering and computer science and computer engineering. And that same thing can be said for anybody, regardless of gender, is if it's more accepting for that group of people to be part of that community, you're going to see an up and to the right growth of interest and involvement in those communities. And unfortunately, again, with the numbers assessed here, non-binary individuals were not assessed as part of this study, but something to be excited about, something I want to continue to see grow towards more even distribution between male and female is this. But just looking at the numbers even a couple years ago, it was, I believe it was only about 20% female. So seeing that there's a larger growth in female population, that just extends. It's a lot of downstream effects that I get really excited about women getting in technology, into computer science, and basically all of the STEM fields, right? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It all just kind of affects everything downstream. Which is crazy to think about because we're talking about video games and a live streaming platform, but the interest gets sparked somewhere and it's allowing for people to explore their interests and hobbies further. Let's talk about where these people reside. So we'll actually see here that the majority of the users, finally, for once, is in the US, because if you remember any of our other deep dive videos, you'll find that maybe the US has the largest population, but for the sake of the entire platform, we might be a smaller position. But you'll find that 22.98% of users are found in the US, and then we have seconded by Germany, in France, and then we go to Korea and Russia as well. There's actually a pretty large Korean population on the platform. If you ever go on Twitch late at night, you'll see a lot of Korean streamers as well as foreign streamers because it's during their daytime when I should be sleeping, but I stay up too late. But It is something worth noting that there are big personalities outside of the US. Most of the big streamers that you hear about are going to be like one-off politicians or musicians that did an event on the platform. But then you have these consistently high number of streamers, and they're mostly US based, but you are seeing a growing field around the globe. Now, let's talk about what sort of media you find on Twitch. Now, there are clips, and they're worth mentioning because clips are a great way as a streamer for people to capture an exciting moment. You can share that onto your YouTube or your other social media platforms, and there is sort of a repository for clips on the platform, but it's not really it's driving attention grabber, right? The live streams are the driving factor in this case. And there are some pretty exhaustive numbers here to take a look at. There has been over 67 million hours streamed on the platform. 93,867 channels were continually live on average. It's nuts. It means there's almost 94,000 people streaming at any given moment on the platform. So if you have a specific taste or interest, you're probably going to find it. 26.76 viewer ratio across the platform. So that means for every one streamer, there's about 27 individuals watching a stream. Does all that distribution pan out? Absolutely not. There are thousands of channels that are riding at 1 or even 0 viewers. And then you have, a large majority of that is compressed into the top tier streamers that are going to have 30, 40, 50, even 100,000, couple 100,000 viewers. They are taking up the majority of those numbers. But if you wanted to look at it at an average, you're about 27 viewers per streamer. There was 24,646 games were played. So that's just titles. Great. I didn't even know there. Well, I mean, I guess I could have assumed there were that many video games, but knowing that there's diversity on the platform, there's always going to be like the top 10, top 20 games generally stay the same. But once you get into the really interesting, like, I would say under 2,000 concurrent viewer category, those games are changing in and out. So regardless of what your topic is, one of the top tier topics is just live chat. People just sitting here having a conversation with other individuals. So regardless of your interest, be it video games or otherwise, there's probably a category. Some of the, like I said, live chat is one. Music is another really big one. I'm seeing a growth in stocks. So day trading. So if you have interest in that, and then you're going to see all of your favorite games in there as well. One of the things I like to tune into is tournaments. Finding tournaments for some of my favorite games are there, or seeing oddball events like concerts, even though that's technically the music category. There's also a creative category and a cooking category. So if you're interested in, people making dishes or art live, there's tons and tons of different categories. Streamers broadcasted 17.8 million times. That's how many times that they hit the go live button. And viewers watched Twitch for a total of 1.8 billion hours. That's a ton. So most average viewers on the Twitch platform are not just swinging in for 10 minutes. We're talking nearly an hour on average for most people to stay on the platform and watch a stream. So it is a long commitment. Again, something to keep in mind for ad revenue, or if you're trying to run advertisement on the platform. If you're trying to be a live streamer, it's not a 15-20 minute YouTube video. It's a session, right? And a lot of people don't get that. Like, average stream for a streamer is usually like 3 or 4 hours, and that's short. A lot of streamers are streaming for 8+ hours. And now, am I encouraging that? No, but the longer you're broadcasting, the more opportunity there is for people to stumble upon your stream. So it is a different culture, as I had mentioned in the beginning. There's this cultural barrier to entry that the Twitch specifically struggles with, and it is something that you do need to keep in mind if you're exploring this as part of your business portfolio. Now, let's take a look at some of the engagement numbers. So there's 56,000 average concurrent streamers. That's down a little bit from the viewers that we had mentioned earlier. We have 1.44 million average concurrent viewers, 4.74 billion hours watched in 2020, 41,000 Twitch partners as of March. So some of these sources are a little bit different than the previous numbers, but the one that I found interesting is I called it live chatting, the just chatting category, most popular category in October 2020. So it's not just gaming, right? That brings this, and this is where we're seeing a lot of politicians and musicians and athletes, and we even see some, professional athletics like football are on the platform now too. So there is a lot of engagement that can be had, especially from an ad revenue perspective. It is something to keep in mind of, hey, not only are these particular streamers gaining a lot of mind share from their audience, people are sticking around. It's building trust, right? Sitting there for several hours and interacting with your community, you're going to build trust with that community. So some of you may have remember prior to this new channel I launched, I was a Twitch streamer. I streamed on and off for like 4 or 5 years, even to the point where I was a traveling Twitch streamer for fighting game tournaments. And it's different, right? You do build a connection with these individuals, especially as a smaller channel. So don't undercut smaller channels if you're looking at advertisement or brand deals, right? If these individuals, they might have a smaller community, but they might have a stronger community, somebody that's more invested in their opinion than maybe some of these larger communities where, people are there just to be entertained. They see it like a television show versus a community. So let's talk a little bit about my thoughts, though. I've trickled them in here throughout my conversation because it is a platform that holds a very strong spot in my heart. Like, I really liked live streaming. It just didn't work out for my schedule. So for my business model, it didn't make a lot of sense to live stream on Twitch anymore. I moved away from making gaming content to this more business focused content. I needed to spend more time actually working on and in those businesses than what a solid streaming schedule would allow. So I had to make some decisions there. And with that, I maybe have a little bit stronger opinions than some on the platform. And I'm going to be a little bit more biased maybe than I would normally, where I just like to look at the hard numbers. But Twitch can be, or is, a business in and of itself. That's its primary function, is like, I'm a streamer. I'm here to collect, followers and subscribers, and people can tip me with financial donations or bits, or they can support me through buying merchandise. Again, we've talked about like creating merchandise, creating products that you can then sell from your platform, because whether or not you want to admit it, you're an influencer. You're influencing a community of people. So that Twitch is generally found as a pillar content for your business. That is what my business is I am a streamer, right? And then I have all of these supplemental income streams through brand deals, affiliate programs, through tips and donations and subscribers and ad revenue. And I think I covered everything. I probably missed one. But it can be supplementary. It's more rare. You might see flash in the pan approach. You might see people jump on that have a really large following on another platform and then come over and do like a live stream. Maybe they're traditionally a podcaster or a blogger or some personality or political figure or head figure somewhere, right? And they jump onto the platform to do a live stream. You've seen this a couple times with some political figures. They will come on to Twitch and they'll do a live stream. They'll partner, play a game with other streamers. They have a message that they're trying to share, and they hang around for a few hours and play some games, right? That's a way to reach an audience that might not otherwise be reached, and it's not their primary platform. It's a secondary platform. It can be used as a supplement, another supplement, I guess, to your primary platform. Leader in live streaming platforms, you're playing with the big dogs here. What does that mean? Simply means that's the pros, right? Twitch is the pros when it comes to live streaming. Facebook gaming is great. You can generally see a good early launch on Facebook gaming and Facebook live streaming because you have friends and family that are going to watch. YouTube has a higher cap, meaning they have more people on the platform, but it doesn't have as many people that interact with live streams. So it's still a good platform versus Twitch, which is this dedicated live stream. People are there to watch live streams. That's where all of the professionals, top dollar earners in the live streaming space are all found on Twitch. So be ready, if you want this to be a primary content for you, to fight it out, right? You're going to have to be consistent. You're going to have to up the production value. A lot of people just say get started, and I believe that's 100% true, get started. But the barrier to live streaming on Twitch is much, much higher than it used to be. And the quality that people are demanding is higher as well. So it's really, really hard to get discovered on Twitch, as it doesn't really have discoverability. But we'll talk more about that here in my fourth point. And then do keep in mind your content. Focus is still on gaming, but non-gaming categories are growing, right? We talked about this. We talked about just chatting. We talked about stock trading. We talked about, traditional board games. It's still a game, but like chess you see is growing. But then you also see cooking channels and art channels that aren't necessarily gaming related, but might still be, geek and nerd culture too, right? You do keep that in mind. Like, people might be baking, but they're making Mario cookies, or people are doing art, but they're drawing some of their favorite characters from games or movies or fiction, right? So do kind of keep that in mind as to what sort of individuals are on that platform. And then the fourth point that I was alluding to here just a moment ago is Twitch is not a discoverable, friendly platform. Meaning you have to draw in your audience from another platform. It is just hard, simply put, to find a new person to watch. Like, if you click into a category on Twitch, and you're going to be greeted most often, you can actually change the order now by the streamers that have the most streams or viewers in a category. You can do recommended, where it's actually using some machine learning and some basic AI functionality to determine what your likes are based on previous activity. But if you're a net new user, you don't have that previous activity. There's no suggestions for the platform to make. But then it involves going into a category and then just scrolling and going by not even a clip or a moving GIF of that image, but just like, I'm looking at a static image of a live stream and I need to make a decision if I'm going to click on that and give it 5 to 10 minutes of my time, because I'm not going to really make much of a decision in the first 30 seconds. And then even at that, the first 30 seconds, you're met with a pre-roll ad, driving people away. I believe the stat was something like 35-40% of people leave during the pre-roll ad, which there's now ways to control, but like, it's hard to get discovered. So the only way to really get discovered on Twitch is to leverage more discoverable platforms. So start a YouTube channel, have a TikTok, have an Instagram, have a Facebook group, or a podcast, or a blog, or a website of some sort, where you can drive traffic from these other sources that might have more discoverability to your Twitch channel. And then once they're there, they're more willing to give more time because you've built trust in other areas. So if you're looking to just get discovered on Twitch, it's not going to happen. Not until, the platform's been readdressed in how people are discovered and how it's laid out and its behavior, right? I remember I talked about this cultural barrier to getting into Twitch. Its users use the platform in a certain way that actually kind of prohibits discovery as well. So that's all something to keep in mind. So with Twitch, and should you include it in your business model, I think it can be a great supplemental piece for event type live streams for your organization, or product or service, or whatever you might want to be. Maybe you just enjoy live streaming and it fits into your business model. This could work as well. Like, I like to use the example of woodworking. If you are making tables and you want to live stream that so you can talk to people while you're working, and you can actually grow a following that way as well. There's been several artists and, I guess, creative workers that have done that, where they just like the live stream. They put the camera up, they have a microphone, they're talking with people, they're doing their project. And not only is that a way to show people the end product and gain interest in buying the products you might be making, but it's also a way just to interact with the community and do something interesting. You know, people like watching stuff being built or restored, for instance. And so just sitting there and watching that can be calming for a lot of people. They enjoy that. They might subscribe, they might tip, they might donate, whatever, to your platform, and thus creating another revenue stream. If originally the only revenue stream you had was the tables that you sold, or maybe your passion is just making tables on a personal level. And that is something else too. Just, I enjoy making tables. So now I want to monetize that in another way that's not actually selling the table. Live streaming might be that. But again, that's treating Twitch as the primary pillar in your strategy. So keeping all of that in mind, not only the demographic information, but the cultural barrier and sort of the approach to the Twitch streaming platform, this can be a great addition if you are looking at live streaming as a part of your business model. This is where the big dogs play, and this is where you want to be. So with all of that in mind, if you enjoyed this video, enjoyed this content, hit that like button, subscribe. I really appreciate it. I am building this whole entire YouTube platform off helping you build businesses in the digital realm. And the only thing I ask for is a subscription, and come watch and hang out. Leave a comment, because I want to answer any questions you have about any of these platforms we've talked about, including Twitch. And I'm super excited to interact with the community and to answer these questions, because I really just want to help you all build a business, gain additional revenue, in income streams, doing the things that you love doing, be it creating a live streaming platform, or you love making a widget. We're going to help you create some top of funnel activity, some other income streams in and around that widget. That's an old business term. If you didn't know what to call a particular product, just call it a widget. But nonetheless, thank you for hanging out with me here today, and we will catch you again next time.